so since we know Mr. Gonzalez can pray really well, can we ask him to do the invocation?
Let's do it sitting down.
Okay, we can sit.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, once again, we ask that you be with us as we embark on this new endeavor. We thank you for all your blessings, and we ask that you be with us as we start a new venture here. Help us to understand what it is that the city needs, and help us to be capable of working towards that end. We ask that you give us support in every way that we need, and that we be supporting to the city in every way that we can. All of this we ask in Jesus' name, amen.
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 Okay, we need to establish a quorum. We have a committee of 7, so we need to have at least 4 members. And so, Ms. Brown from the hospital is not here, but we do have Ms. Jimenez also. She's present. We have Mr. Gonzalez present. We have Mr. Baker and Bill Atkins present. So you do have quorum so we can continue. You can stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. So do we have any citizens' comments? All right, so we want to start with the introduction of members. I'm Henrietta Turner, the city manager, and I want to say thank you so much for volunteering your time. This is a committee that I asked the council to put together. Been playing around with it since February, March, and finally have our meeting. And so I want to thank you. I have my contact information here, if anybody needs my cards, so that you can contact me. It has my cell phone number and my direct line on it.
I know I've been around a long time, but I stay with that.
Please help yourself. Okay, and then we just go around the table, you all can introduce yourself. All right.
Thank you.
Ms. Jimenez, we'll start with you.
Okay. My name is Marisa Jimenez, and I was born and raised here in Floresville. Left to seek out my career. I currently am the Director of Special Education Post ISD, and so I'm an administrator over there. And I've been back here for the last 6 years. So I thought it was time that I start contributing to my hometown.
Great, welcome.
I'm Fred Gonzalez. I'm currently retired, have been retired for 21 years. In that period of time, I've done a little bit of teaching. I've done a lot of volunteer work. I was born and raised here in Floresville. I left here in 1958 when I got married. Spent 50 years in San Antonio, most of my, in fact, all of my career in San Antonio. All my children are over there. Retired in 94 and came here in 08, and I'm back home.
I'm Bill Atkins. I was born and raised here also. Haven't lived more than about 30 minutes from here my entire life. I currently am the Assistant Superintendent for Finance at Floresville ISD. Just excited to be home and be back in Floresville.
Tommy Baker, I'm the Director of Economic Development here in Floresville. I've been in that position since October of 2013, and we're trying to grow Floresville.
Well, I'm so glad we have so much history with Floresville. I'm not from Floresville. I'm actually from the Chicagoland area. We located here about 19 months now. Started October 1st of 2013. I'm happy to announce the City Council just renewed my contract, so I'll be here for a little while longer. And I'm really excited about what we have going on, so I'll check my slide. Okay, so in order to create this committee, we have to have bylaws, and so everyone has a copy of their bylaws. Mr. Gonzalez would like to attend the meeting when the council approved it, and it's the official one that has the mayor's signature on it, as well as the stamp. So here are the bylaws. and every committee must have one. And so this, now, not necessarily this is written in stone, our attorney did one. We left it pretty open and generic, so as this committee grows, you can look at it. I know, Tommy, you sit on EDC, and you all just recently made some changes and suggestions to the bylaws. So it is a working document, it's not necessarily a fixed document. And so I wanted to say that you are official and you have bylaws. They are pretty open-ended, and I know Mr. Gonzalez mentioned some things, so if you all care to think about it, take a chance to review it at your own time, but these are our general guidelines in reference to that. Are there any questions about the bylaws?
I don't have any questions, but I do have some concerns, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best way to go at it, though, Henrietta, would be, once we get into it, as a committee or a board, to kind of have a very careful look at it in depth. I have concern with even the name of the organization. I think Bureau denotes an upgrading the norm of the city, so to speak. And we're purely, as the purpose indicates and further down, an advisory board. It's not concerned that it's misrepresented by the
And so the nice thing about this committee, unlike other committees, is that this one's so new. It is a work in progress, and I'm quite sure that the council is going to be excited that we had a meeting, but they are definitely open to it.
Right.
But the purpose of the Visitors and Travelers Bureau, whatever we end up calling ourselves, is to use the money for hotel motel tax, which is, the mission statement talks about that. Now, hotel motel tax is just a tax that's assessed to anybody who stays in a hotel. Well, I went from new Motel 6 to Super 8 to our Holiday Inn Express, and you're growing up here where you are, we used to have like 1 and 2 hotels, and now actually we have 10. And so every time they stay in a hotel, there's a tax associated with that. And historically, I believe sometime in 2010, and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, 2010, about 2010, they had actually not had collected a lot of money for hotel motel tax. But recently, we've collected a lot of money for hotel motel tax, and it's over $500,000 in that fund right now. And so we have the mission here, the mission statement, but clearly the review, and we'll put this on the agenda for your next meeting if you like, the review of the bylaws. But one of the things we want to show is there's a definitely two-step process of how you're supposed to use hotel motel tax. And I gave you a 2-step, and then my attorney loves to print out this one, what cities can use, administrative and municipal. I read this and fell asleep, but this was like a little Reader's Digest version of it. They call it the 2-step process. And basically, the number one thing is we need to bring heads to beds. Heads to bed. Any activity that's going to encourage people to come and stay in your hotel. That's definitely an easy way you can say it qualifies for this money, because this money has to be used for that purpose. And then the second one, they have 9 different categories that you can use them for. Convention and business bureau. Oh, we got one of those. They have a convention center. A registration, advertising of the city, promotion of the arts, historical restoration, preservation, and just recently, as of Sunday, I saw in the paper that the GOAT mission, I don't speak Spanish, but they tell me if I say GOAT mission, I'm good. Give me a nice and loud, come on. Was actually denoted as an international historical landmark. So anything that talks about history, a hike and bike trail that's a national, those kind of things we can use money for. It brings people to hotels, and it promotes the city of Floresville, or advertises the city of Floresville, or events happening in Floresville. It qualifies for this wonderful thing. So that is what the purpose of this committee. Now, recently, the city of Floresville has given, I don't know if you saw in the paper, we gave some money to the Balloon, and we gave some to Cycle Ranch, and the council saying, here we are, where's your committee? The purpose of this committee is those people are going to come to you. And you can set the guidelines and the criteria of what you want to, what would fit that purpose. Follow along with this to say, okay, that would qualify in our opinion, and we're going to make a recommendation to the council to approve them and what the dollar amount would be. What the dollar amount that you want to spend would be. Those are going to be the things that this committee will decide to do. So recently we supported at the tune of $35,000 for advertising and marketing to the Peanut Festival. Everybody knows it. Were you recording the Peanut Festival? You're beautiful.
My sibling was a great size.
Okay. It runs in the family. And so we want to promote that. I believe it's like 71 or 72 years old. That definitely brings heads and beds. It definitely advertises the city of Floresville, so that's a win-win. So those are the kind of things we want to talk about. You need to think about your criteria. I know on EDC, you all have a criteria for getting some signage. So you all have to create the criteria. City council didn't give one. Create the criteria to say, this qualifies to be able to spend hotel tax for. So when people come calling and they're knocking at the door, even though I wasn't doling it out, we were actually anointing people with the money, that they have to come to this committee. This committee will decide. This committee will set up the criteria and make a recommendation to the council. If somebody comes to the council directly, they will direct them back here to say, nope, you have to meet the criteria of this board, and this board makes a recommendation. So it's really going to be important, and to know the history is really important, but you know how we spend this money, and you got money. One of the things in our budget for this year that's going to be new, Mayor, don't repeat this yet, I haven't put out for the whole council yet, but whatever we collect in a year, so let's say we collected last year, I'm picking a number, somewhere around $300,000, that will be the budget that we want to spend, even though it won't empty the pocket. So we'll have like a base, in case there's some big project we want to have to do, we can always draw from that. But we want to say whatever we collected last year, we can spend in the year going forward. That gives us a pretty good number. And $300,000 is a lot of money to spend.
I would think that ours is a two-pronged objective here. One would be like what you're saying, request county, we evaluate, we recommend onto the council whether to accept it or not, and maybe set a price on it. I think the other, and probably more long range, is for us to look to see if there is a need for a structure, positions, that in essence can work for the city to get us where we want to go. And that is to become a destination city, as Councilman Tejada always says. And again, heads to beds, we've got to find a way to bring people in here, to set up some, I guess, marketing strategies, a whole lot of things. But I still think that we need professional people doing the job, the actual operational.
I am so excited that you said that.
So to me, one, we have the request, we have the money, we have the need already existing, and we're the kind of the processing house.
Yes.
That goes on to the to the city council and says, this is good, so much money, recommend. But by the same token, long range, we need to work at getting things going so that we have, we go out and entice people to want to come here. And you mentioned some of the things that we've got going for us.
And one of the things that happen is professional staff is always important. And I, the city manager, I attend a lot of meetings, so I will be part of this committee, but I won't be the liaison for the city. The new person that we're going to be hiring, we can use hotel motel tax to pay a staff member to come in. And I'm talking about a staff member that has experience in marketing. That's their background. That's their professional. I'm interviewing them tomorrow. I have 3 top candidates. We had about 14 people to apply. So I get to hire everybody. And then that person will be coming forward to be able to do that. So that's really, really going to be important. They're going to be working with Gloria Martinez. Gloria Wade. Gloria is actually one that operates our community center right now. And the capacity, we want it to be able to grow. And so we have some pretty good candidates that we're looking at, and so we're hoping that that person can help us chair, and they're gonna have the experience and the professionalism of how to spend it. With you both being in school, being certified and all those kind of things, you know how important it is to have, that's what people do for a living, so we need to be able to have that. Now, hopefully that person will be in place by our next meeting, and they'll be learning too, so with such history on here, I've lived in Floresville all my life, will definitely help them to learn, because they won't be as familiar with the Peanut Festival and understand what it means. Except for, I ran into someone who said, oh yeah, the Peanut Festival, you don't take it serious? Like, yes, we close up City Hall, school is closed early, Peanut Festival is a really big thing. So we want to be
bigger than what it is.
Really. So we can get there, and I think we can come back and to look at those kind of things. And with the event center there, we're going to be doing some remodeling soon because we have some issues with the roof, and that'll be taken care of over. So I think the time is now for us to seriously talk about having what kind of businesses you want to be able to see, how we can interact with non-for-profits and schools to have their type of activities there. That's important as well. Just recently, the city council voted to allow whatever the fee schedule was, 50% for a non-for-profit. And so we want to encourage people to have things locally. I think that's important. I mean, but we need to have more than weddings and quinceañeras at that location.
The other aspect of it, and I was gonna ask you, and that was where that bureau comes into play, and I don't think, it belongs here, it belongs under the city, but that's not the. Anyway, as far as what the chamber used to have at one time, do we have that going somewhere where they hand out maps and all that
You
kind
need
of
to
stuff?
start reading my mind. Actually, on the agenda for the 9th, we're actually having an agreement. We're gonna start with the 1-year agreement, and the mayor and I have been meeting and speaking about that. So that they'll pick up the telephone, here's a map, where do you go, where the events are. They will take that part of that, because this committee
When
can't.
you say
the answer.
they,
They being the Chamber of Commerce.
oh, okay.
The location, you know, the chamber, they just moved a little bit further about there where the school.
We're not a work group, as far as that goes, hands-on, we can
Yes.
do a lot of things.
But so that day-to-day come, pick up the phone, doing those kind of things, we definitely have to work on our website. So this committee, I know it's not necessarily a
But
communications
we
committee.
can fund, even though it's in the chamber, we can.
Yes, you can fund them, and definitely social media is the way to go. But you can see there's a big marketing tool for the city. And so that's even to, I don't think we're gonna get there yet, but we need to have an app, and we need to be able to look like all of our, as my son used to say, Mom, your website is stagnant, it's not very interactive. And so those kind of things we can do, we can look a lot bigger, a lot quicker, even virtual tours that you can go on. I went on Fredericksburg's website, and it's cool. Well, even New Braunfels is doing a lot better. When I was looking at some of their rafting and their tubing, that's the kind of thing that they're advertising. You can use hotel motel taxes for that. And so those are kind of things we'd be throwing at this committee to help us use those. And if you look at the back of the mission statement, I'm on the plan. If you look at the back of the mission statement, we have just a little simple sign. Okay, and so that's one of the things that started this was, did you see the sign? We need to have branding, marketing, advertising, so people will be able to locate our historical downtown. And it is very, very historical. Along 181, along 97, those are kind of things you can use hotel motel tax for. It's signage, because it's gonna advertise the city of Floresville. It's gonna let them know where the historical things are. And I think the uniqueness of the sign being appealing, aesthetically appealing, and also being, looking alike, it brands us. And so, you all work with children all the time, they can't even read, but you see a McDonald's sign, they know McDonald's. I see a Bucky sign, I know Bucky's one. So, those are kind of things that we're gonna be bringing to this committee to hopefully come through and make recommendations to the council, is what we're looking for. And people will have from different walks of life will help us to be able to do that, rather than always coming from staff. So you have a whole lot, you signed up for a lot, y'all ready for it? You're really gonna be giving back to the community, and I think the timing is perfect for us to be able to do that. I do not have all the answers, but I do want to put in the hard work, and we want to put in the hard work and get the staff and give the time and attention that we can, so that you can be able to do that. Is that okay with everybody?
I'm sort of, I guess, in agreement with Fred. We've got to find another name to express what this committee does, because for so long, the Visitors and Tourist Bureau was run by the chamber, and they ran it out of the chamber little office that's now on the edge of the school property and so forth. But to me, that's where visitors and tourists stop to get information. And I don't know that they have their sign up yet, but that's something else we need to do, is say, hey, here's information about Floresville. But I can't make the correlation between that function of the Visitor and Tourist Bureau versus this committee. I mean, it's a part of, but it's just one part of the mission. And I don't have the name, but I think we need to, think about that.
I think we should be just simply what we are, an advisory board. Say Floresville Convention Tourist and Visitors Advisory Board.
we can do that, because if you ever see some of those commercials, come visit, you
Yeah,
know,
well, that doesn't-
Indiana, or come visit something, you're like, why are people advertising in Texas, come visit, because that's that visitors bureau, it's that visitors money, it's that hotel motel tax they can do. And clearly, the money that they collect in San Antonio is phenomenal, as they're preparing to do the Final Four, is that right, in 2018?
But again.
Is it 2018?
We're just
Yeah.
a processing unit here, is we're not collecting money per se. The
And
city
if-
collects that, we just advise or provide as much information as we can.
And if you want to change
and
that, I think.
recommend, you know, what they should do in
If you want to
many
be visitors
areas.
in tourism advisory board, I'm all for that. I mean, because, just wanting everybody to understand what you know, for everybody to, understand what the mission and what we're trying to start. We're not gonna have, you know, solve it all in one day, but I think the uniqueness of it is that we can come back and
And
make
then it comes
recommendations.
down to the same thing, it's just a matter, like Tommy says. See, because again, Bureau to me is an operating activity. And we had one, and we should have one, and I think there's one existing over at the chamber. And it could be under the city, you know, whichever. But there is one that's going to be doing that kind of thing, handing out this.
Handing out the maps, taking those phone calls.
But our job to me is bigger than that, and again, several prongs in essence. But one is spending money on things that come to us, or going out and seeking those things, or recommending, as we're doing now. When I say professional, I hope that doesn't come across badly, because a person who has the experience, who can do the kind of thing we're talking about, that clearly ties into the heads to beds at some point in time. It doesn't have to be directly, obviously, and whatever it takes to do that, because that money is there, and I think we can spend it wisely, as everybody says, by planning. And that's what we need, a planner who can tell the city, you know, here's what to do.
Yeah, and like I said, and it all ties into the marketing, the advertising, the social media, the signage, all those things tie in. Even the brochures that we need to put together, the maps, all those things can be sponsored for. They need to run through this committee so that this is what, and you know, everything can look alike. I mean, Peanut Festival, you see them, everything's, is it something, what is it, the King's called something because it's peanut spelled backwards? Because it's peanut spelled backwards.
Yeah. It's
So-
Uber backwards and then.
Yeah,
and
some,
it's peanuts.
so everything has, it has that branding, and so that's what we need to help this committee do, is to establish that branding for the city of Floresville. And to bring people back to the historical downtown, and to do shopping. The gentleman, what's the gentleman from Finders Keepers? Roberts. So Robert from Finders Keepers came and said that they're looking at doing recently, the Antique Roadshow, and they want to be able to host that, if he needs additional funding for that. I go, just hold on for 1 second, the committee's meeting, and then you all can come and pitch it to them. So we can say, okay, if we want to have, for example, if we want to have a roadshow, then let's expand a little bit and say, let's have a downtown, so everybody else can come downtown and bring some things back that the mayor have told me, these wonderful stories when they used to have sidewalk sales and those kind of things, that we can talk about that. And so that's what this committee, I envision, for it to come to do that, to make recommendations, and the council's already.
I still recommend that what we need to do is the first item of business at whatever point, this would go ahead and look at Chris and Deb and try to figure all these things that we can do, maybe change the name, but also clarify some of the things that we as an advisory board do versus what we create to do the job.
Would that lead us to setting your regular meetings? Now, typically, most of our committees meet once a month, and they'll do like the fourth Monday, the third Tuesday, whatever the day is. We don't have a date, so is there days that work better than others? I asked you to stay away from Thursday because that's what city council meetings, so Thursday nights are usually not good for me.
And my board meets the second Monday of each month, and I'd like to save that day.
And the council is what, twice?
The second and fourth Thursday.
Wednesday's a good day for me. I'm pretty flexible, but Wednesday's a great day for me.
So,
Okay, because we have 4 Wednesdays, you
Yeah.
know, we can do.
Any other Wednesdays?
Yeah,
Third Wednesday?
So it sounds like Wednesday.
And when would you prefer then, on which Wednesday?
The third's fine.
Third Wednesday, okay.
Okay. So the third Wednesday of the month will be your official meeting.
My wife goes to her church meeting, and that's what I have.
Great.
We have time.
All right. Because,
I'm sure that.
because there's an action item,
Can't do it.
I need someone to make a motion to make that your official date, third
Is
Wednesday.
that an action item?
Yes, sir.
I move that we make our regular meeting date the third Wednesday of the month. Time, anybody?
6:30 is fine.
6:30 is fine with me. Okay, at 6:30. And that's the regular meeting, right, which will be recurring every month.
Yes, and just as a bit of
So that's
information,
the motion.
right, you have to have open meetings because you're spending tax dollars, so it's, we take an open meetings act. Okay, so is it moved, and can I have a second? Okay, you don't have a chairman right now, it's been moved and seconded, to have your meetings on the third Wednesday of the month at 6:30.
Vote? No, vote? We need
Yes,
to vote.
please vote.
Say what?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
4-0.
4-0. Great. All right, the next item on the agenda is election of officers. And, you don't necessarily have to do that today. However, the officers would include, chairman, I believe, secretary to keep notes so that I don't have to do that all the time. I don't believe a treasurer position, but I do know you need to have a chairman. Oh, okay. Number of appointments, okay, so we have a chairman, a vice chair, and a secretary positions, and a treasurer. Yes.
Okay, I have, like, Fred was saying, you know, the bylaws to go through them, but the language in, page 4 or 5, 3.2, now, the chair of the board is the principal official of, now, is Visitors Bureau, is that us, or is that the Chamber of Commerce?
Just you.
See, right now they're using that for us in this,
Okay.
so don't get misled by that. If it changes, it'll be board.
Right, and then we can change that and have them adopt it, not a problem.
But the substance of it is good.
Right, and no pressure, but our fiscal year starts October 1, so if we can spend the summer fixing it up so I can adopt it, so we can say, in our new fiscal year, October 1, this is the bylaws and the mission and everything. Do you?
I guess, I'm
You
I'm
can't
just
do-
wondering if, since we have so many absences, is there any opportunity to table this until people show up? Or, I mean, I don't know some of these people that are gonna be on the board or committee.
Well, I mean, it's up to the board. I mean, we can, you can have one officer elect a chair, because you need at least a chairman for now, or even a temporary chair, to run the
I don't know,
meeting, because I shouldn't be running the
If
meeting.
we were, and here again, discussing only, if we were to postpone, like you're saying, to have all 7 of us, or at least 6 maybe, how do we run the meeting? Does somebody just start running the meeting for us, or will you do it?
I'll do it, and then, that'll be probably the first act of business once we reconvene.
And then, once we have the
You have the
officers
meeting.
there, then we can begin
Yes.
the work.
And so if I'm understanding correctly, you would like to have, review of the bylaws on.
That would be one of the action items, I would think.
Yes.
What do you call it, CNA?
Yes, for consideration and action, and we also can have the election of officers as well, but that'll
So
probably.
now I think that would be number 1, right, the election officers, or we
And-
can just take over and go from there.
And the minutes will be on the agenda, because I'll have minutes on the agenda, I'll have those minutes on.
I think the secretary job is very important, so we need to get that.
Yes,
They're,
and we'll have a tape
yes.
recorder at the next one.
Okay.
All right, so, if you care to table the election of officers, I just need a motion.
You want to move that, by the way?
I make a motion, we table.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just as a matter of staff does not vote in any of these meetings, and I don't blame. And, if you've done your,
My open
Open
meeting?
Meetings Act
Yes,
training?
in fact, I've got it in front of me.
Okay. Do you have a open meeting?
Yeah, please, yeah.
We just need a copy of the certificate for on file. Have you done your open? It's just something, you can go online. Have you done? If you have a copy of the certificate, we just need to have it on file, to say that you've been trying.
It's easy to be certified, I guess, or whatever it is, but it's not such an easy task to know.
It's kind of like you have to spend the time, but, we just like to keep it on file so that we can say it to everybody, because this is open.
It's very critical.
It's open for the open because of using tax dollars. Okay.
Now, we've established what Wednesday of the month and the time, but when will the first meeting be held?
Well, are we all gonna do it in this month, or you wanna start next month?
What are we now?
Six, so that'll be next Wednesday, the 15th or 15th.
My feeling is just simply that, this month may be too short a time to have a new hire that is supposed to come in and, sort of, know what he or she's gonna do. So maybe August is better to give them a
That
month.
looks like
When you say a new
August
hire.
the 19th,
Who are you referring to?
the new staff member.
The one she said she's gonna hire.
Yes.
But I don't think that person is necessary for us to conduct business with. Not at all. In fact, if we had conducted it with us before they did it, we were going to recommend that kind of thing.
So that person won't be,
Oh, actually, I'm not gonna interview that person.
That person is not going to be the executive officer.
oh, yeah, no.
Works for the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they will be liaison here, they'll be integral in chairing this
I see
and
what,
working with
no,
them.
I see what you're talking about.
But now, didn't you say a while ago you're gonna bow out?
I'm gonna attend, but I won't be leaving your meetings. I'm just nosy. Because it's just my idea, so I just wanna keep
We
it
appreciate
going.
you.
I cheer a lot. I mean, EDC, I come for A, and I want to come to this one. So I'm excited about it, but, I just needed to, say that the person who'll be getting your agenda and your meeting notices and all that kind of stuff won't be myself, that's be part of the
But
responsibility.
that person will be an employee of the city.
Yes, that person will be an employee of the city. So are we looking at the 15th or the 19th of August? July 15th
She wants the third Wednesday though.
that's the third one then?
And so it's either that, what is it?
So 19?
The 19th
The
of August
19th of
or
August.
the 15th of July.
Or the 15th of
Oh,
July?
that'd be the following month, okay.
Yes, we can do this month on the third Wednesday, or next month on the third Wednesday. I look to your discretion.
I make a motion, for the 19th of August for the first
Let
meeting.
me ask a question first. Oh, there's a motion, but let me ask a question anyway. You said something about it, something critical that we do prior to or before the beginning of the fiscal year. What?
Your bylaws, that if
Oh,
you're
okay.
gonna change the name or title or whatever it is, I just need it before October
I'll
1.
second that.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Tommy, you moved, right? Second.
For the other debate, the 19th?
Yes, sir. The 19th. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll go back.
So part of our homework is to go through the bylaws and just make notes about changes.
Absolutely, I would think that we can do. And we may still not be able to get it at that meeting, in my opinion, because we need to kind of kick it around, understand it, delve into it to the extent that we feel comfortable. Because this thing has to be approved by the city council.
Yes, okay.
But I feel very comfortable with.
Yeah, now, you have each other, I give everybody a contact letter. I'm gonna call and make sure that we can, make sure everybody's gonna be at the next meeting, so that everybody has information. Do you all have any questions of myself? Well, get ready for the hard work. We're ready. I am presenting the budget to the city council on, July 9th. which is this Thursday. And then I will have a portion that's for you, that you'll be looking at me to you guys.
I know we're the end of the business here, and it's not related to one question. Are we gonna be actually spending money per se? We're not, right? We're recommending.
You're recommending the
But
money.
The city is the one that
Yes.
deals with financial processing, so to speak.
Yes. Yes, but we're gonna, I know you're familiar with planning and zoning, and we've done planning and zoning, so based on the recommendation of this committee, the city will be assessing how.
We don't actually spend the money, we just
Make a
approve it,
recommendation.
and the council spends the money.
Yes.
So the follow-up question, I like the open meetings, but the following question, I understood that the sports foundation, because they don't spend money, are not bound by the open meetings law.
The Park Foundation, because they're not spending tax dollars money, they're not bound by open meeting.
So are we?
Yes, because you're spending all your money you're spending, or recommending to spend, and
They don't
operating
even
to
recommend
spend. No,
Okay, fine. I like open meetings, that's good.
yes,
I don't have a
right.
problem with it.
And Mr. Gibbs likes to come to our meetings.
Rips, not Gibbs.
Oh, sorry.
It rhymes.
Those are kind of use. Will Gibbs. All right.
We like to
Great.
change names.
All right, with that, would you all like to call me adjourned?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 7 p.m.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
If you all have anything else that you need, please don't hesitate to call. I'm always excited to be able to do that.
We have, I now have your cell, right?
You have my cell and my